celebration of tax season and the IRS generously deciding that the money that they already took from me wasn't enough, I decided to get a head start on my plan for tax season next year by 100%ing Turnip Boy commits tax evasion. To complete my this game, I will have to rip up every government document, including a letter from my late father, get every hat from Quest, and defeat our mayor, who in no way resembles the US government. Chapter 1. Turnip Boy's Problem. I awake in my new, more rotund body as Turnip Boy to a letter stating that my taxes were due, like yesterday, and our boy has racked up almost $145,000 in property tax, and if we refuse to pay, the deed to our house will belong to the mayor. So, Turnip Lad rips the letter straight in half like a budget paper shredder. Oh, Turnip Boy, you've really screwed yourself. What do you mean, what? You committed tax evasion. Yes. Tax evasion is a real thing. Anyways, you owe me a lot of money and obviously have none. So consider yourself my personal assistant. Chapter 2. The Tasks. First, the mayor sends us to Bustling Barn because he wants to make it a town hall, but shocking to no one, there are animals that are getting in the way. He tells us to bring back a bag of fertilizer as proof and sends us on our way. We quickly run into our first problem as Turnip Boy has no way of getting through the weeds that are blocking our entrance. After consulting the beat, who is appalled at Mayor Onion's lack of urban design, he tells us that there's a sword in the weapon woods that should be able to help us get through. On our way there, we see a watering can on the floor and immediately pick it up, because who cares about petty theft when you're already a tax evader? This is where we run into Annie, our friend, and apparently Mayor Onion's research department, who tells us that there's a sword up ahead and we should check it out. So, after watering the sword, like the sign foretold, Turnip Boy rips it out of the ground to use for a weapon. On our way back, we run into a carrot who is frantically flailing about and claims that she lost the baby that she was supposed to be watching and asks us to keep an eye on it. And after adding her to the worst babysitters of the world list, we move on to a blueberry who's having trouble with his roommate Jerry not paying his half of his rent and asks us if there's anything we can do. With our newfound sword, Turnip Boy takes the next logical approach and murders Jerry in cold blood in front of his roommate for all to see. His roommate, after being angry for approximately 2 seconds, asks us to give him Jerry's rent money and writes us a check for $1.25 that Turnip Boy promptly rips up in his face. After destroying some weeds, I run into the bar north of Layer Lane and talk to Slay Queen 32, a streamer who says that we can't go into the barn until we give her a tier 3 sub. We go outside hoping that one of the workers can tell us where to buy a tier 3 sub, but settle after ripping up a random worker's 1099 form, because not even independent contractors are safe from Turnip Boy's rampage. After realizing that the workers in the bell pepper with memory loss are about as useful as the documents Turnip Dude has ripped up, we venture to Way Sandwich where one of Slay Queen 32's simps gives us a literal tier 3 sub. I give it to Slay Queen and get access to the Bustling Barns where I learn one of the most important mechanics of the game, bloom bombs. These are plants around the game where if you water them twice, they explode on sight. After clearing out a room of enemies, we make our way into the next room where we find boom boots. This insanely fashionable footwear allows Turnip Boy to kick active bombs in whatever cardinal direction he feels like. Finding a stranded construction worker, we run into our first boss battle, King Pig, a larger-than-life pig due to his fertilizer consumption with an easy-to-understand moveset. He gets mad, turns red, and charges at you, a move easily dodgeable by taking one large step to either side. After hitting a wall, he becomes stunned and stands still for a few seconds, allowing you to attack. During this fight, you have 2 ways to attack. You can either hit him with your sword, if you hate yourself, or turn the room into an active bomb site and just launch those at him instead. After killing the king, he explodes into bacon, which immediately disperse into the void, and you're rewarded with heart fruit, which gives you 1 more health and the fertilizer that Mayor Onion asked for. When we return to the mayor, he tells us that the fertilizer that we gave him will come in handy, and then requests that we go fetch him a 4-pronged spear, also known as a dinglehopper. Remember the flailing carrot from earlier? Well, she's important again, because as we make our way down to the Plain Plains, we learn that there are cultish carrots that sit in their patch because they believe that nothing can hurt them in there. After briefly looking for the child in the soil, it is to both Turnip Boy's and my own dismay that one of the carrots, perceiving the baby as a threat, threw the baby in the garbage. After picking him up, we take him to his babysitter, who exclaims excitement and gives us the stool she was whipping around, only to begin whipping the baby around like a baby helicopter propeller. Luckily, with the stool that she gave us, we can finally access the previously unreachable Forsaken Farmhouse. The Forsaken Farmhouse is an area that has been overrun by sentient sweets. The one most to blame for this gameplay behind you is the donut archer, because for some reason my brain could not comprehend that if a bullet is coming at you, you should move. It was in this next room that the game introduced us to move melons, or in this case, not so move melons, because we are not yet able to push these, because like other abilities in this game, this one's a two-parter. Eventually making my way to the other areas of this house, we run into this chocolate watermelon man who reaches out and grabs me like La Llorona grabs children, and starts pulling me towards him. After doing the finest tap dancing the world has ever seen, I make it into the next area, the idle icebox, home to the world's last cosmic brownie, truly a sight to be seen. The cosmic brownie, dubbed Deb, scolds me for destroying their fortifications and sends me over to the mission board to atone for my sins. According to this board, I will need to gather medical supplies, turn on a generator, and find a lost kid, because this game is home to the worst parents/babysitters the world has ever seen. I picked to start finding the medical supplies because as it stands, Turnip only had one to collect, the medicine, which we already know the location of. After avoiding the watermelon man like the Black Plague, we grab the medication and make our way back to the nurse to give her what she asked for. She gives us a key, enabling us to go further into the Forsaken farmhouse in hopes of completing the other missions. Going further gives us the missing part to our melon debacle because we found the movements, whose only job is to allow us to push the melons. After going back to that room we couldn't access earlier, I ran in to find two watermelon rotten fellows and stabbed them incessantly until they finally died and dropped the cherry baby that was missing from the idle icebox. After returning the baby to the sister who gives me another key, I use this to open another door in this house that is oddly human. A bed with a letter from the President of the United States stating that their family member has been MIA since July of 2020 and they need to verify his location, which Turnip Boy leaves untouched. Yeah, you had to know that wouldn't happen. The next room houses the rotten cat Apple, whose attack rivals none than Gruz's mother from Hollow Knight. The cat bounces around from wall to wall, only stopping to spit out a few worms. This boss can be beaten by placing a few move melons in the holes and launching bombs at the capel until they die and drop Cran's little munchkin and a heart fruit. This also leads me to the generator where Turnip Boy turns it on. On our way back we run into Annie again, who mentions that there is a notorious gang member locked in the icebox and urges me not to break them out. I would never. Thanks, Drumhead. We owe you one. Here, try on this. Your father used to wear one back in the day. Every good mafioso needs to look the part. Wait, if I leave, I come back, are they gone? Holy shit, they are. Also on our way back, we met Mac, a macaroni noodle. I'll let him speak for himself. What the heck did you just frickin' say about me, you little turnip? I'll have you know I graduated top of my class in the pasta skills, and I've been involved in numerous secret raids on the barn, and I have over 300 confirmed kills. I'm trained in guerrilla warfare, and I'm top sniper in the entire pasta armed forces. You're nothing to me, but just another target. I will wipe you the frick out with precision, the likes of which has never been seen before on this earth. Mark my frickin' words. You think you can get away with saying that crap to me over the grapevine? Think again, Turnip. As we speak, I am contacting my secret network of spies across the farmland, and your leaves are being traced right now, so you better prepare for the storm, maggot. The storm that wipes out pathetic little thing you call your life, you frickin' dead, kid. I can't be anywhere, anytime, and I can kill you in over 700 ways, and that's just with my bare hands. Not only am I extensively trained in unarmed combat, but I am accessing the entire arsenal of pasta core, and I will use it to its full extent to wipe your miserable butt off the face of the continent, you little crap. If only you could have known what unholy retribution your little clever comment was about to bring down upon you, and maybe you would have held your frickin' tongue. But you couldn't, you didn't, and now you're paying for the price, you dang idiot. I will crap fury all over you and you will drown in it. You're freaking dead, kiddo. Mind you, I've never spoken to or about this man. After that weird encounter, I run back to Deb, who gives me the 4-pronged spear. After returning to Mayor Onion, again he tells me that the spear will come in handy and tells me to get some goop from the Forgotten Forest. After making our way to the Forgotten Forest, we find Annie, who at this point I'm not entirely convinced isn't stalking our every movement. Apparently, she has now become concerned with how all these talking foods came to be. After we follow her instructions and meet her at her research lab, we become her personal assistant because the laborious work of Turnip Boy's ancestors will never be finished.
Day is never finished. Master got me working. Someday Master set me free.
She first asks us to find a mural and recreate it for her. On our way there, we see a poster that seems to be keeping a log of how many crimes our dear Turnip Boy has committed. For tax evasion, petty theft, indecent exposure, simping, murder, disorderly conduct, trespassing, destruction of property, etc. It just so happens that the game chooses now to input a portal mechanic and gives me a very easy puzzle that took me way too long to understand. When we finally see the mural, I am quickly reminded that I was not familiar with Turnip Boy's game because he recreated the mural with better line art than me. When we return, Annie then sends me to an ancient turnip patch because apparently my time doesn't matter and now I'm the town assistant. At the turnip patch, we make a horrific discovery that the turnip we find in the patch both isn't moving and doesn't have a face like all the other foods in Vegieville. After finding a larger-than-life deer, because fertilizer is Vegieville's equivalent of the Trin Twins, we enter the shed where we find both an important game feature and where I might have a first-grade reading level. A potted petal porter. Jesus Christ. A potted petal porter. Fuck. When we return to Annie, she apologizes for having me literally bring back an unresponsive turnip and says these missions became extremely morbid, only to throw me off the deep end once more and send me west further into the forest. Here I find that the goop has affected the acorns, causing them to become sentient just like everyone else in Vegieville. With the last acorn we come across looking slightly scared and saying that there's a lot of noise in the room adjacent to him. After going in, we find another large deer who charges at us just like the pig from earlier, except this time he can spawn rabbits, for some ungodly reason, and shoot the poisonous goop at us like a laser. Upon defeating him, we get another heart fruit, and the goop gives Turnip Boy a glow that will not go away for the rest of this run. In funny news, apparently the goop sentience makes acorns want property, so we're given a Leafus payment and asked to scope out land opportunities because apparently on top of being everybody's personal assistant, Turnip Boy is also a real estate agent. After returning to Mayor Onion once more, he first reminds me that glowing isn't covered by my health insurance. Somebody please call Mario's brother, I'm so sick of this. And immediately insults Turnip and asks us to go meet up with the IRS, who tells me to go talk to Tots at the graveyard, and it's at this point that I'm beginning to feel more passed around than a college freshman at a frat house. After talking to Tots at the grim graveyard, he tells me that the only way to get the shovel to open the hatch is by helping him dig up rich people for the things they were buried with. I'm then confronted with the fact that this is going to be a riddle puzzle, and as previously determined, my brain is very dumb. After waddling my way through about 4 riddles, we reach what we've been looking for, only to dig up the grave and find a golden shovel. As a reward for our work, he gives us the shovel he was previously using to open the hatch to the bomb bunker before, and just decides to throw out our frickin' sword, because it's not like we were using that for anything. Thank you so much, Tots. As we climb into the bunker, we run into a human figure who leads me into a room where I'm immediately jumped by baked beans. It's in the next room that we are introduced to our last new mechanic in the game, fire. After watering a fire seed, no, don't ask me about the logistics of that map out. I don't know. You can set boxes, move melons, and most importantly, yourself on fire. In the next room, you are left with only a fire plant and boxes, and the only solution is self-immolation. Whilst trying to convince yourself that that couldn't possibly be the answer to this pixelated tax evasion simulator, you watch Turnip Boy burn. This grants us access to the hazmat suit that means you are no longer damaged by fire. I immediately, however, evicted this information out of my mind because big fire equals scary. After making our way through another hallway puzzle, we chase 2 more human figures into a room with the hardest boss of this game, Liz. Liz technically has 4 different attacks. The hand that she throws out to grab you, a toxic puddle that she randomly pukes, luckily that hurts her as well, a fist that she spawns out of her stomach, and finally, a crowbar, making her my own personal hell. Now, I spent an extremely long time doing this fight because, like I said earlier, I completely forgot that I am now immune to fire. Once I remember this fact, the fight goes down incredibly quick and Liz is defeated. Defeating Liz gives us both another heart fruit and the laser pointer that we were looking for. Chapter 3. Mayor Onion's Grand Plan. We returned to Mayor Onion, and shockingly to nobody, he wasn't being honest. He locked himself in Turnip Boy's house, so before seeking actual action, Turnip Boy uses the time to clear out his mailbox.
A DLC hat? I waited a month for this to feel like I was this lousy hat. I kinda love it. What I found out, open your minds, open your eyes. Oh, I found a knife hat. I shouldn't make you think you're dead. Turkey hat, gobble gobble. Wait, is this all the elf hat? Are these all the hats that have come out since this game's been a thing? Cupid's arrow hat. Bunny ears, is that for Easter? Shredded tax papers hat? Birthday cake? Happy birthday to me, my birthday did pass.
After talking to Old Man Lemon, we learned that our father, Old Man Lemon, and Mayor Onion were all gangsters, and Mayor Onion has always been a little soy boy piece of shit. We use a second hatch behind Old Man Lemon's tree, complete some more puzzles, and enter a room with a note from our late father. My surviving son, if you're reading this, I've probably rotten for a while now. I left the estate to you, but if you're Mayor Onion's retaliation, please protect yourself in the Turnipchino land. It's all up to you now. Sorry that I couldn't be there to witness your second leaf, or for when you held your first watering can. I'll miss you, son. You'll be the biggest gangster of us all. I know you'll make the Turnipchino name proud. Yes, destroy this letter. We don't want the IRS to see this. Love you, son. Don Turnipchino. Okay, he's asked me to. I was like, why the fuck would I rip up my only letter from my father? We run into Mayor Onion, who sicks the IRS after us. After we completely body the IRS, we have to fight the big man who stinks himself. He has the same big attacks as the bosses before him. He has a big fork, toxic goop, and the most annoying of all, the biggest fucking laser the world has ever seen. The first battle has a really low difficulty rating, and this ending still has us rip up our own deed. But if you were paying attention, you probably noticed that I said first battle. Yeah, as we're quickly faced with at the end of the credits, the question mark at the end signals that this wasn't really the end. Chapter 4, Endgame. This is where I will unfortunately be breaking a few hearts. You remember the sign that says, all tangerine dogs will cease to exist when the game was beaten? Yeah, well, that wasn't a lie. In his place is a celestial cat who gives us riddles to the rest of the hats and documents that we have left to get or complete. These parts are kind of boring, so I'll give them a montage. We collect a receipt from a waste sandwich trash can, rip up fan art by a grandma, rip up a tax program from a sandwich worker, a receipt from near the carrot patch, make Turnip Boy go bald, and finally get an acorn the real estate who gives him ownership of the stump he's currently standing on, but with more taxes. Chapter 5, Endgame Part 2, The Electric Boogaloo. Let's go. After ripping up the acorn's deed, we are told that we have finally ripped up every single tax document and we should go fight Mayor Onion again. After doing all the same puzzles again and do the preliminary fight all over again, which goes a lot smoother this time, only to be met with more dialogue. Did you think you beat this little game we have going here? You think I didn't notice that you destroyed every single government document? I have one less trick up my sleeve. Did you notice in my base below? Yes, it's the nuke. The same nuke your father wanted me to deactivate. Your father was a deadbeat. He thought it was too dangerous to keep around. So he wanted me to prevent it from ever being used. But now he's not the picture. Guess what? Get nuked, kiddo. Well, that wasn't very nice. We wake up to the IRS and God Onion, who now has legs. This infight, however, is pretty easy as he uses the same attacks from last time, just with a little less room to move around. However, our way to attack is severely limited as we're expected to launch his IRS lackeys at him as our only way to deal damage. After launching 2 IRS agents, the one who woke us up and was locked up is freed and tells me not to kick a boom bloom at him, and all I have to say is, my bad, G. Chapter 6, The Conclusion. And with that, we completed Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. This is the conclusion part of the dialogue. You can skip this if you want. It's up to you. Let me first say, thank you so much for watching this video. It was the first video with this editing structure and was very hard, so I appreciate you checking it out. Also, to clarify some things, yes, I did collect the hats and documents that weren't shown. Here's proof. Also, yes, I did go on the limitless line, but the footage was low-key boring because I'm bad. Anyways, I hope you have a good rest of your day, and bye!